Alright, well, I don't know how many of you are familiar with the NRSV, but this is a Bible here that is in the New Revised Standard Version, the NRSV, and I'm going to be doing a video on this particular version in an upcoming video in my translation series. So stay tuned for that. And it is a translation that's very popular, and there are some things that I would say are really good about it. But I do actually have some reservations about this translation, and so I'm going to talk about that as well. But I thought, as I did research and am looking into this translation, I would really like to have a hard copy of it. And so I got this Pew and Worship Bible, and I'm just going to do a little look at it today for you and give my review of it. So what I like about Pew and Worship Bibles is that they're very affordable and yet still quite durable. And this is selling at a retail of $14.99. There's the ISBN number if you'd like to look at that. And this is put out by Zondervan. This tells you a little bit about the Bible here. And you'll notice that it's in the comfort print, which the more recent Zondervan and Nelson Bibles have comfort print, and those are designed for the New King James and the King James, the NIV, and here the NRSV. And so it's supposed to be a typeset that is good for reading, nice to look at, easy to read. And so the more recent Bibles and those from those publishers have that. This tells a little bit more about the comfort print for the NRSV. It looks different than what you get for the comfort print in the other translations. It's unique to the NRSV, this particular comfort print. So that tells you about it there. And getting into this Bible, this shows you the copyright information if you'd like to look at that. The NRSV originally came out in 1989. I believe that this one might have been printed in this year, actually, 2019. Someone can help me out with that, because I don't really know for sure what all the numbers on the bottom mean. But I think it's a pretty recent printing, and there's the table of contents there. I forgot to show you, too, that this comes with this paper cover, but when you take that off, it has just this nice burgundy hardcover underneath, and I think that looks really good. Nice design on the front there, and simple spine here with Holy Bible, NRSV, Zondervan. And then the title page, table of contents, and a preface to the reader. This tells about the translation and some of the thought that went into it, the philosophy of it, and it's written by Bruce Metzger. Then you have the Old Testament title page here. Very, very nicely designed, as are all the comfort print Bibles. Nice headings or titles for each book. And then here's a section heading, chapter number. I like how this print is just very clear. This is a double column format with paragraph style type, and it's very clear. I would say very readable. I like the way that the type is spaced. I believe it is line matched. Very clean looking text, and each comfort print is different, as I've said, but I like this one overall. There is one unique thing about it that I'm going to show you, but I just want to give you a look at that. This is actually a 10-point font, which for a Pew Bible is really good. I think for a Bible this size, this is a really good size font. This is a very portable Bible, easy to carry around. I like this. So for $10, $15, it's a really nice Bible to have on your shelf. So let's look at this comfort print. One of the unique things about it here, you can really see here something interesting, and it's in this passage here where you have a lot of one particular letter. See if you can spot it where it's just something really unique. Overall, I think the print looks very classic, but there's one letter that's just really different, and that is the G. So you have a lot of G's in this section here, and it looks like it's cut off, but that's just the way the font was designed. So I think that is actually meant to be that way, just to keep the spacing nice and even, and you can keep it kind of close together, and yet there's still a nice consistent space between the lines. So I get it, but that is really unusual not to have a curve or a loop there at the bottom of a G. You can get used to it, but I thought that was a really kind of stood out to me when I first looked at the font. I do like these poetic settings. Another nice thing about the NRSV is that even in this Bible here, you do have some pretty extensive footnotes. So I like that, but the downside of the NRSV, it has a lot of scholarship behind it, but it can kind of lead to some ambiguity. I'll give you an example here at the end of Mark, chapter 16. You know how Bibles will sometimes put brackets toward the end of Mark just to denote that it does have a longer ending or maybe a shorter ending. This actually has various endings listed out here. So you actually have the shorter ending of Mark, which would come after verse 8 here. But then there's a longer ending of Mark, which you see in many Bibles. It was traditionally in older Bibles like the King James Version. But just the way that they put it out there, on one hand it's very honest that these are some different endings of this book, but it can kind of create more ambiguity as to the reader when you're reading through all this information. You're like, okay, so is this supposed to be in the Bible? What do I do with this? So I think it is a good Bible for having in your study, having for research. I also wanted to compare the comfort print of the NRSV to what you get in the New King James. This just shows you the uniqueness of the comfort print in each Bible. And just looking at these two here, you can see they're similar size actually, although this is the premium collection, Premier Collection by Nelson, but you can kind of see that the comfort print, each version is unique, but they're both nicely designed, good spacing, and very clear, bold, readable font. So there's a look at the NRSV Pew and Worship Bible by Zondervan, and I look forward to looking at this translation in more detail in an upcoming video. Thank you so much for watching this review from a Frisch perspective.